golden sample. Claus does that, and it's just amazing. Everybody becomes quiet. Well, I hope you all enjoyed your breakout sessions. Before we begin with our program, I want to acknowledge a few people. One, I want to thank, before the afternoon is over, I want to thank several people for helping put this together. And in particular, I want to thank the program committee of faculty, and that was Jim Ferris, Gary Painter, and Dal Myers. So could you give them a round of applause? And then, as you all know, these things don't work at all without the dedication and hard work and very skilled staff. And I hope I have everybody that's been involved here, but certainly I want to thank my Special Projects Assistant Richard Parks, Kathleen Marrero, who is our events coordinator, Kristen Sanderson, who's our Director of Alumni Relations, and I also saw Scott Jacobson working here as well, who's the Director of our annual fund. They worked exceedingly well to make this smooth and wonderful mini conference. So could you give them, would they please stand up and I'd also like to acknowledge the SPPD Board of Counselor members who have joined us since this morning for lunch. And as I call your name, would you please stand? David Abel, Randall Lewis. I saw David a minute ago. I don't know. Oh, there he is. Okay. Steve Moya. Could you stand up, Steve? Dick DeBakis. Dick is, yep, Dick. I think the Honorable Mark Ridley Thomas has left. Mike Keston, is Mike here? Was? Okay. And Yoshi Hankawa. I know Yoshi is here. Our Board of Counselors, could you please give them a round of applause? And now I'd like to take a couple moments to honor several people in the room who are part and parcel of SPPD's legacy. And this is a rich legacy indeed of faculty and of leadership of the school. So as I call your name, what I'd like you to do is come up to the front of the room over here by the cake. And if those of you who haven't seen this cake, you really need to look at it. We're going to eat this cake. I hate to say that because it's so beautiful. It's not the kind of thing you would normally want to eat. But so when I call your name, would you please come over, and we'd like to get some photographs and honor you. So please go over by the cake. So we're going to start first with the former deans of the School of Public Administration and Urban Planning. And I have to say, when I came here, there were several former deans around, and I began to wonder about that. The deans have short tenure or they're long-lived, so I'm hoping it's the latter. So let me call up the names, and if the deans would come over by the cake, and then we'll honor them together. Start with Bob Biller. Yeah. David Mars. I know David's here. Peter Gordon. Is Peter here? Alan Creditor. Ross Clayton. And last but certainly not least, Jane Pisano. Our former deans. And we're also very fortunate to have with us some emeriti faculty. the cake as well. So let me read the faculty as well, and if they would come over by the cake. Bill Petak, where's Bill? Alec McEachern, is Alec here? Gil Siegel. And Bob Tranquata, our Maritime faculty. I missed one. I'm terribly sorry. Warren Schmidt. Is Warren here? Thank you, Warren. So please honor our former faculty and leaders one more time. Thank you. Now, there is just one more person in the room that I want to honor, and I want her to come up as well, and that is Connie Rogers. Connie is the longest serving employee of SPPD, and this is her 45th year. So we're going to take some photographs, and I hope you enjoy your meal, and we will resume with dessert. After dessert with the main speaker, Bob Ross, CEO of the California Endowment. So enjoy the meal. Thank you.
And you're in your favorite former dean.
Former dean. Yes, of course. Jack, maybe you want to step down here and fill this spot. You weren't in the photograph before with the former dean.
Okay.
So let's. Oh, stage. Okay.
This is former deeds.
Well, but we want you to stay. Okay.
Connie is the dean trainer.
Yeah. So is this good? Oh, look, anybody around?
Okay, they're fine. I'll move a little bit. They're fine. Okay, here we go again. Let's see. Is this back? That's good. Good. All right, on three. 1, 2, and 3. Looking right here. 1, 2, 3. And last one. 1, 2, and 3.
One. That's a historic.
This is always a difficult role, but just please continue to eat. But I'd like to take a few moments to thank everyone for coming and joining in our 80th anniversary celebration. And before I introduce our keynote speaker, I'd also like to say a few words about SPPD's legacy and its implications for today and the future. You know, in 1929, the USC School of Citizenship and Public Administration did not resemble very much the much more complex school we are today. But I really believe that it contained the seeds of what is currently the modern SPPD. Indeed, 8 decades later, founding Dean Emory Olson, I think, would be impressed to see what the school has accomplished. In his book, Good to Great in the Social Sectors, Jim Collins wrote that a great organization is one that delivers superior performance and makes a distinctive impact over a long period of time. And I strongly believe that SPPD has proven to be a great organization that has made a tremendous impact over 8 decades. Our faculty members, past and present, have made major contributions to their fields. They include major scholars shaping their fields, such as Mel Branch, Gordon Whitnall, Loudon Wingo, Bill Baer, Trita Banerjee, Harry Richardson, Peter Gordon, Ed Blakely, and so on. And in public administration, it includes Neely Gardner, Frank Sherwood, John Fiftner, Kim Nelson, Ross Clayton, Bob Biller, Gerald Caden, Joe Holy, Burl Radin, Chet Newland, among many. Just reading those names indicates to you the quality of people who have been leading this school, who have been working in this school, who have been teaching and shaping our fields. And our alumni include such amazing people as Margarita McCoy, pioneer in planning practice and a model role for women in urban planning. Judge Joyce Kennard, member of the California Supreme Court. Crispin Gorder, CEO of Scripps Health Systems in San Diego. The just nominated U.S. Labor Secretary nominee, Hilda Solis. And people such as Bob Champion, CEO of Champion Group. That is one of the first companies to use innovative mixed-use development in San Diego, Pasadena, and many other communities. And these are just some of the many people changing the world we live in for the better. In a remarkable way, I believe that the elements of our school's historical legacy provide a vision for the school's future and an approach to addressing many of the country's major issues. And I'd like to spend just a couple minutes outlining these elements and show how they are perhaps even more relevant today than they were several decades ago. Public service. As Provost Makia said, the initial impetus for our school came from the good government and women's movements. And they saw public service as a value and a norm across the sectors in addressing community as well as national issues. And it continues as the core value of the school today. In our current world, the issue of public service and good government is resurfacing as a major challenge facing the country. The social contract between government and its citizens is changing. The interest in public service and the common good in society are growing, not just in government, but in nonprofits, philanthropy, and business. Second, public-private problem solving. Founding Dean Emery Olson, believe it or not, was the Associate Dean of the School of Business and became interested in the new school because it was focused on volunteerism, the public sector, and the ways the public and private sectors can work together. It is no accident that the word citizenship is found in the initial name of the school. And this cross-sector focus for problem solving has served as a hallmark of the school, including urban planning and development and public administration. And today it is a defining feature of how we train students in the kind of collaborative governance and problem-solving research and teaching in which we engage. It epitomizes, for example, the new inter-university consortium that we've just formed with the University of Washington and the University of Arizona around collaborative governance. Third, multidisciplinary problem-focused research and education. We began as a multidisciplinary entity with both a degree in public administration and classes and program in urban planning. Over the years, public administration, as you know, added public policy, and health administration, and urban planning added real estate. 10 years ago, all these degrees came together in this school, a very unique, exciting mixture, interdisciplinary mixture for addressing the major issues in the country. And we are very proud of the capacity that we have to apply multiple disciplines to these issues. We have formed amazing multidisciplinary institutes and centers, such as MetTrans, or the Lusk Center, or the Keston Institute, or CREATE, as was mentioned by the provost. These are remarkable multidisciplinary undertakings. And we also focus not just on the problems themselves, but also on how society, through its institutions and constitution and decision processes, solves these problems. In other words, we focus on governance also. And the Bedrosian Center on Governance in the Public Enterprise encompasses this purpose. Fourth, ties to the community of practice. One of the things I'm most proud of is when the accreditors come and look at our programs and they say, we have the highest academic standards tied to community practice. That's the hallmark of our school. And initially in 1929, the courses of the Institute of Government, sponsored by the new school, were taught in the Los Angeles City Hall as intensives for continuing education. This past year, we taught over 500 state, local, and nonprofit leaders in executive education programs. Today, we also have several community projects, internships, advisory boards, adjunct faculty participating in the school. And we address real-world problems in partnership with practitioners. Providing continuing and executive education in person and through distance education is a major objective of our school. And we are committed to usable knowledge, to use Charles Lindblom's phrase, that advances academic theory, but also makes an impact in the world. Fifth, entrepreneurial. The formation of the new school in 1928-29 was groundbreaking, both for urban planning and public administration and for public affairs schools in general. I was corrected by David Mars. I thought we were the second school of public administration and the second degree in public administration, but he has informed me that, in fact, we were the very first in the country in a groundbreaking way. And in addition, more recently, we were one of the very first schools in the country, I think it was the third, to form a master's in real estate development to go with our urban planning program. And even more recently, we've been one of the very few schools in the country to form a master's in leadership, which we started last year. So we continue to be a very entrepreneurial school. Global. It's quite remarkable how important that is today, but our school was doing this for several decades, starting back in the 1940s, where we were training officials in several other countries and had many, many overseas students here at our school. And indeed, President Sample is very fond of talking about his experience with the leader of Malaysia, in which he was surprised that he could spend so much time with the leader, and the leader, so he asked him, how could I spend, an hour with you? And he said, well, it's all these Trojans in my government. And it turns out that all these Trojans, or at least most of them, were trained by our school. So we have today a growing number of projects, research projects. We're globalizing the curriculum. We have international teaching labs. The urban planning program has a very significant international lab that has been running for a number of years as well. And we have research partnerships in Korea and China. We've just signed an agreement with the Peace Corps, and we are about to, in 2 weeks, sign a major agreement with the World Bank. So we have been and continue to be a global school. And finally, excellence. I came here in part because of the excellent reputation of the faculty, staff, and the academic enterprise that this school comprises. But the school has been committed to this for decades. It has been in the forefront of scholarship and education from the beginning. And today, it continues to be ranked very highly in the top 10 schools in the country, and in public management, which is the legacy of the public administration program started many, many years ago. We are ranked number 4 in city management and number 5 in nonprofit management and public management. So we are in the very top 5 schools in the country. These elements, I believe, define our past, but also define a vision for the future of the school. Public-private and multidisciplinary problem solving. Outstanding academic excellence tied to the community of practice. entrepreneurial endeavors, and global reach, with a strong commitment to public service and the common good. That's SPPD. There are disturbing parallels with our times in the late 1920s when our school was formed. We live in turbulent economic times, and there are dangerous and rapidly evolving international developments. We also confront challenges to good government and public service and the role of government in society in general. Certainly our collective hope is to avoid the calamities that started 80 years ago, which brought the country and the world to the Great Depression and to World War II. But as Abe Lincoln said, the dogmas of the quiet past are inadequate to the stormy present. The occasion is piled high with difficulty, and we must rise to the occasion. As our case is new, we must think anew and act anew. As Dean, I am committed to working with all of you to build on the strengths of this great legacy, to rise to the current occasion, and to think anew and act anew about the many challenges